Welcome to the All About You podcast. My name is Sheila and I am your host. In this podcast, I invite people to tell their stories of their travels, hobbies, and passions. These podcasts are also now available on my All About You YouTube channel. So if you have a story to tell, please contact me on allaboutyoupodcast@yahoo.com and let's tell your story. Welcome to the All About You podcast. And today my guest is Marsha Watson of Divine Executive Concierge Incorporated. And Marsha, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you very much for having me. It's an honor.
Well, Marsha, I'm very looking forward to this because we are going to be talking about a service you offer to people starting their businesses and helping them run their business. But also I want to get your story as well. So Marsha, can you introduce yourself, please?
My name is Marsha Watson O'Mara, owner of Divine Executive Concierge. I help business owners go from working in their business to working on their business. Basically, I take away all the tasks that they find overwhelming, and I take that on for them, and they can go off and do their schmoozing with clients or hanging out with family members. So I take away the anxiety from the day for them and take on their to-do tasks.
I mean, that is absolutely phenomenal because I think even if we are working in corporate, there are certain jobs we enjoy and there are other ones that we don't want to do.
Right.
And having somebody who you can say, okay, I love doing A, B, and C, but H drives me insane, and that you can hand that over to somebody else.
Right.
You must be busy because I can imagine a lot of people going, yeah, I so need that service.
Yes, and a very good busy indeed, because I also know what tasks to take on. I know when I started my business, I was thinking I was going to do everything. I was going to walk your dog and change your baby, do everything. And then I niched it down and said, no, I will not be walking anybody's dog. I'll take on the tasks that I enjoy doing. So, yes.
Right, Marsha, let's go back to the beginning then. So what did you want to do as a career? How did you come up with starting your company, and where did that idea come from?
It's the strangest thing because I actually went to university to become a teacher, and I'm not a teacher right now. But I actually had my first client, my first paying client. She called me and asked me to assist her with her when she had launched her book. And I'm always in a mode of helping people, always assisting. You know, whatever I see somebody having a bit of an anxiety attack of looking at a to-do list, I was like, let me take this on for you, and you can go off and do whatever. So I kind of fell into starting this business because I was always doing it. So I thought, why not capitalize on it? So when this young lady had said to me, I want to start, launch my book, I want you to help me because you're always good at helping. So I said, okay, sure, no problem. So then I found myself in arenas where I had to contact, whether it was bookstore or media, simple things like working out her calendar and sending out emails for her. And I thought, I could really do this for a living. So I kind of fell into it initially. Then I thought, okay, I'm going to start this business. How do I start this business? And so I wasn't really thinking when I started. I said, I'm going to do everything, like I said earlier. But then I realized, I'm really good at helping people with admin, so let me stick with that.
So the thing is, Marsha, you are a natural organizer, planner, sorting things out. So you have created a business out of something that comes very naturally to you.
Yes, yes. I was actually an office manager at my 9 to 5 job. And so I'm basically now a virtual office manager. So I was already operating in that vein. So then I thought I should just capitalize on it.
So can we talk about the time scales then? So you started helping this lady with her book.
Mm-hmm.
How long was it before you thought, actually, I can start thinking about creating a business?
I would say it was around 6 or 7 months when I decided, let me actually start this business. So I registered the company name, but didn't really push the business quite yet because I still had to do a little bit of homework on, how to run a business, how to incorporate and everything. So I didn't officially launch it until June 2019. So next month, June 5th, will be my launch. 3 years of me launching Divine Executive Concierge. The three, yes.
Wow, I hope you're
Yeah.
going to celebrate that three
Oh,
years.
yes, I am.
You're running a business using the skills and talents that come naturally to you.
Mhm.
What are some of the things that you have learned about yourself since running this business?
So the good and the bad, I learned that along the way I had to learn to say no. I also learned that there was a fine line between being a people pleaser and someone who wants to genuinely see you and assist you and help you in your business. So the negative, I could say it's a negative and a positive because I learned that I was people pleasing. And so then I had to fall back and draw the line, put some boundaries in place. And then the good thing that I learned about myself is you can start a business at any age. I kind of reinvented myself at 50 plus, I'm 53. So, I reinvented myself. So I learned that, whatever I put my mind to, I can definitely do it. And I had to shift my mindset to more of a positive mindset to be able to become successful in my business.
So, Marsha, tell me some of the things when people come to you, and let's say, for example, I'm running my business and I'm wearing all these different hats, and I've come to the end of the rope and I'm like, I cannot do this anymore. What's the first thing you would do? You'd sit me down and say, okay, this is what we need to look at. What would that conversation be like?
So the first thing I would do, I would ask them to tell me a day in your life. What do you do? You're from this moment you wake up in the morning until you go to your bed, or do you even sleep? Because I find that a lot of entrepreneurs, we don't sleep. We say, we think it's, the moment you open your eyes to the moment you go to your bed, but there has to be boundaries in place. So I'll ask them, tell me about your day. And then I'll say, okay, so this is where we can take this away from you. Let's organize your calendar. Let's organize your email. Let's organize your thought process. And let's put things in place where you're either adding a timer on the things that you're doing, or we're taking that task away from you. I'm handling it and then handling the people, basically being a liaison between the person that I work with and myself. So it's as simple as going through your day and making sense of it, narrowing it down, and ensuring that by the ending of the day, whatever you choose your work day to end, that you have ended your work day, close your computer, and you're enjoying your life.
I think that's a very interesting point, because I think since I've been doing the podcast, which is probably about just over a year now, I have learned an awful lot that I didn't expect. And particularly for me, I mean, we are having this conversation. I'm in Valencia and it's nearly 6:30 on a
Mm-hmm.
Friday evening. You're in Canada and it's probably about 2:30 in the afternoon.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things for me is, if I want to talk to people all around the world, I've got to be very, very careful about time zones. Because,
Mm-hmm.
oh, yes, that's fine. We can do that at 8 o'clock. Yeah, no problem. And then when I look, well, that means I would be sitting here at 3:30 in the morning doing a podcast. So,
Right.
particularly obviously with international conversations for the podcast, whoa, Sheila, just hang on a minute. Before we agree anything, let's look at the time differences, because
Mm-hmm.
I sort of get very enthusiastic about conversations. Yeah, chatting to the guest, etc. Whoa, let's just calm down. Let's look at this logistically. And so you learn these things as you go along. Now,
Mm-hmm.
Marsha, time management. Let's talk about time management and let's
Mm-hmm.
talk about a to-do list.
Okay.
Let's have some words of wisdom from somebody who you've been there, done it, and got the t-shirt.
Time management wise, you start the night before. Quite frankly, you can start it on the Sunday evening for the week. Knowing what you're going to do each day, it should be done the night before, so that you're not waking up, you don't wake up the next morning and wondering, what am I supposed to do? I'm frazzled. What's on my calendar? Da 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 da. You actually have a list of what you're doing the night before, set aside. And then the next morning, you would actually wake up refreshed, have your coffee, tea, water, whatever it is that you're going to have, and then you take a look at your list and say, okay, this is what I'm going to do from this time to this time. You've actually set the to-do list the night before, saying what's priority, when am I more effective during the day, what can I put in that time frame, and just realizing realistically what you can do in a, let's say, 6-hour day. But it all starts the night before.
Let's just say you've got inside my brain,
Mm-hmm.
because I'm very much, I understand doing the to-do list the night before and put it in the priority. And then I look at it and I think, okay, I'm doing this, this, and this. And it's chock-a-block. And I just think, okay, I've heard this about putting in white space or grey space or empty space for you, that type of thing. How can we organise our to-do list but put these sort of bits of space in just to have half an hour to maybe just have a bit of fresh air or sit down and get away from the screen, the desk or the computer?
You definitely have to put it, actually, if for some people, you would have to put it in your calendar. It depends on how disciplined you are. So if I'm speaking with somebody and I realize, okay, no, they're a little bit of a procrastinator, then it's, you have to put the notifications in your calendar and the reminders. There's some people that need to have all those things in place to make sure they stick to what's on their to-do list and the time frame that they put it in. And so you put it on your calendar, and I always tell people, make sure that you put a time where you have your break in the morning, you have your lunch hour, and then you set a time for your break in the afternoon. And you actually get up from your desk, your computer, or whatever the case may be, and walk away from it and take your lunch elsewhere. You sit outside, you sit down in your living room, whatever the case may be, but no electronics, no nothing. Give your brain a break so that you can function when you take on the next task. You're able to function better when you've had lunch or tea or whatever away from your computer. And to put your phone on do not disturb, because then you don't have people messaging you saying, oh, hey, what do you do for breakfast? And then all of a sudden you're down a rabbit hole, and then the things on your to-do list haven't gotten done. So I think one of the most important things to do is to put your phone on do not disturb while you're working, but you can remove it, during lunch hour or whatever.
I think it's an interesting point there, because we are particularly talking about people running their own businesses. Mm-hmm. However, since the pandemic, all those lines are blurred. Even people in theory are working in corporate may still be working at home. And the people I've had conversations with, it's very much, I'm not actually sure where I can stop and have a coffee away from my computer, because in theory, if I was in the office, you'd be having your coffee at your computer at your desk. Mm-hmm. So I think the pandemic has definitely made everything a little bit blurred, whether you are working for yourself at home in your home office or at the kitchen table, or whether you're doing your corporate job but at the kitchen table or dining room table. So it's all got a bit blurred over the last couple of years.
Absolutely. And I find that especially people who, because I actually just resigned from my 9 to 5 recently, because I thought, now it's time. I can't do both businesses at the same time. And I found that I was still working at 8 p.m. or 9 p.m., 10, 11 p.m. And I thought, no, because if I was in the office, I wouldn't still be sitting in my office at 10 or 11 p.m. I would have actually gotten up from my desk, gone to the coffee shop, got a coffee, and walked back to my desk, or gone to the kitchen in the office to get my coffee and come back. Maybe stop and pause and talk to one of my coworkers. You make the effort to put in breaks when you're in the office. So especially when you're home, your home has to be your solace at some point. And so you have to make room for the breaks in your life, because then home won't be fun for you. It will be, oh, well, I'm waking up, I'm at home, I'm going to go to work, or I enjoy being an entrepreneur, but this is my life. you have to separate the two because you have to take breaks to enjoy. We became entrepreneurs so we could enjoy our life, not to be head down in the computer all day long. So at some point, you have to put the boundaries in place for yourself and honor your to-do list so that even your mind and body will say, okay, you know, when she said she's going to do this, I trust her. You said from 9 to 10 you're going to work on XYZ. But if you go over at 10, you go over 5 or 10 minutes, that's fine. But if you're going 2 hours or whatever over, your body won't trust you. So you have to put these things in place and be very, like, honor your to-do list and honor the timing that you put in the to-do list. And if you find that you're carrying over things, because we've all been guilty of, okay, well, I didn't get this done, let me carry it over. If you're carrying over too many things, that's when you know you have to delegate and get help. That's where I come in.
I mean, I think that's an interesting point, isn't it? Carrying things over. I always find I'm carrying over the things I don't want to do. Procrastinate. Well, I didn't get them done today, but I got these other things done. I'll carry it over tomorrow. I know, truthfully, it will get carried over and it will get, because I don't want to do it. It's something I'm not comfortable doing, or it's something that's boring. And I could easily reel off, I won't because it'd be embarrassing, but I could easily reel off 2 or 3 things that will naturally get carried over because it's just not my thing. And you see that typically when you're working with other people in their businesses.
And you're absolutely right. It is things that there are things that they don't want to do, especially when I'm dealing with speakers, authors, and coaches that want to do pitching emails to media. And sometimes they're cold pitches, so there'll be maybe 100 emails that have to go out. They don't necessarily want to do it. They keep pushing it off because they have other things that they want to do. So then that's where I come in and I'll say, hand this to me and I'll automate this for you so that the emails will go out for you. And so then there's a sigh of relief because then they're not carrying it over. But then there are things that have to be done by the business owner where they look at it as a mountain, but you literally have to chip at it one item at a time. And then before you know it, it's all done. But nobody really wants to do it. Sometimes it's something you don't really want to do, but you have to do it, or else then there's this mountain of work that's piled up that you have to have your hands on. So it's important to chisel at it one at a time to get it done.
I mean, I know we are particularly talking about people running their own businesses, but so much of this can apply to people who have a full-time job in corporate and you've got children, a family responsibilities, etc. It's still getting yourself organised, doing a to-do list, even if it's go to the supermarket, pick up the dry cleaning, drop off that letter, pick up something else. It's still this information about, what is your priority? What are you carrying forward? You've been walking past that bag of stuff that you're supposed to take into the donate thing, and it's just sat there and, the pile's getting bigger, but it's not actually getting outside the front door.
Right. Being at home, like I'm a mom, and so there are times where the laundry will pile up, or I do have a pile of things that I want to send to the donation bin. And I had to get to a point where I had to contact a company to come and pick it up because I didn't have the time in my day to slot that in because I didn't want to. Because I was just like, I just don't want to. And then there are other times when I'm like, okay, I know this is what I have to do. I literally have to organize my morning by distance. And so if I have to go an hour outside of where I live on my way back, then I'm like, okay, so when I'm on my way back, I can go this store and this store and this store instead of going haphazard all over the city and making my 1 hour trip 3 hours. So it's always good to actually sit down and look at, this is what I have to do. What can I put in this day that can get done? That's a personal item. So I have to do grocery shopping. I have to do laundry. I have to drop off my son somewhere. So I can fit it in this time frame. And if it can't get done, there's no shame, there's no crime in it not getting done. You just put it over to the next day, but you don't really want to, but you have to put it over to the next day. So there's nothing wrong with carrying it over to the next day unless it's something that's very important that needs to get done as a business owner or an entrepreneur. But in your home life, there are some things that can get carried over.
It's very interesting you talking about, carrying things over. when we do actually get round to doing those things, the sense of achievement, we are like, oh my God, in reality, it took me 10, 15 minutes. And I've just given myself the biggest gold star, because we are not going to trip over that bag of stuff that's been sitting in the hall, because I thought, right, I'm so sick of it. I'm going to take it and I'm going to do it. 5-10 minute job. Oh my God, why didn't I do this weeks ago? So we know ourselves that we are kidding ourselves, as in, I'll carry it forward to tomorrow. I'll do it tomorrow. We carry it over. We are kidding ourselves. It sits there for another couple of days or a couple of weeks. But when we actually do it, we just think, oh my God, why did I procrastinate on that?
Right. And can you even delegate it to somebody in the home? Like, are your children old enough where you can say, okay, you know what? I'm walking past this pile of stuff every day. Can you do this for me? On top of that, then when it gets done and you see the space where this pile was, like when that happens to me and I look at the space, it's like, oh, in here looks so nice and clean and fresh. I actually did get rid of something today, so yeah.
But that's a good point, though, because I don't think as humans we are particularly good at asking for help.
Right? That is true. And that's why you have to like step outside of yourself and ask for the help, because more can get done when you ask for help.
I mean, it's such a fascinating subject, isn't it? Sort of running your own business and cherry picking the parts of it you love to do, and then thinking, oh, the stuff I don't want to do, I'll carry over to tomorrow. Who are we kidding, Marsha? Who are we kidding? Only ourselves. And 9 times out of 10, it will be us that pick up that slack at the end. But yeah, we need to delegate to other people in the house, or a friend. When you go to the supermarket, can you drop this off? Can you pick this up? Absolutely fantastic. Yeah. Marsha, I wanted to talk to you about the name of your business.
Yes.
Can you talk about how you came up with the name?
That is a story all by itself.
Right, so let's start with the name of your business.
Okay, so I have a gift basket business, and the gift basket business is called Divine Greetings and Gifts. And so it's, when you think of divine, you think of excellence, you think of, I'm like, oh, I don't know how to put it in words. And so you want somebody that when they're helping you to take this load off your back, and you're like, yes, they've taken this load off my back. So the divine part came from that. And so I've always wanted to keep divine in whatever business that I was doing. So with the greetings and gifts, it was divine greetings and gifts. So then when I transitioned over into the executive admin aspect, I had to keep the divine part. And then I thought, it's executive concierge. And so the concierge part was because when I started, that's when I was thinking, oh, I'm going to do everything for everybody. But then, of course, I niched it down and thought, no, but it's still concierge and bit, because then I'm doing the admin, I'm doing gift baskets, I'm doing small event planning and PR a little bit for, the speakers that I have, sourcing out media. So there's an umbrella of the business that, kind of transfers over. it's umbrella and then gift baskets and everything else underneath it. But the divine was more of the how do you articulate it? Something, oh, je ne sais quoi. I don't know how to put it in words.
When you first said, I was just had this thought of this angel is come along and she's going to help me sort out what I should be doing, right, and what I can pass over to you and for you to do. To me, as in somebody coming along and just saying, okay, what do you like doing? What don't you like doing? Where can I help you? Oh my God, that's exactly what people want.
Thank you. You just put it in words for me. Yes.
So, Marsha, what are the plans for your business? I mean, it's obviously evolving into different areas. Do you have anything that you're thinking about exploring with your business or other ventures?
I am actually going to start a Divine Executive Academy for VAs. So to train someone how to start, whether they want to start their own business as a VA or how to be a VA.
So that's
if you want to
virtual
work for
assistant.
somebody else.
Yeah,
Correct.
virtual
To be a
assistant.
virtual
Yeah.
assistant. So the next step is to start an academy, and I'm hoping to have it up and running in the next couple of months. So that's next, and I don't know how I'm going to pull it off, but I'm going to do it.
This is really something that has appeared over the last couple of years, I guess, with people running their businesses from a mobile phone, from a laptop, virtually anywhere in the world, any time of the day, any time zone. But they may need secretarial backup, they might need sales and marketing. So this is a thing that has grown up over the years. So it must be quite a huge market for you to get into. Absolutely.
Oh, yes, absolutely. And especially since the pandemic, I find that there was an increase for a need for virtual assistants and worldwide. So you'll find that you will need to have, if you have to have a meeting with somebody, like the one that we're having right now, you're in Valencia and I'm in Toronto. So you have to have staff on hand to be able to handle worldwide clients. So I find that since the pandemic, this increase to have somebody who's able to work no matter where they are has come about, and now nobody really wants to go into their office. You have to be able to pivot to fit in what's happening in the world currently, so all of that to say there has been an increase, and it's for everything and everybody. I think that anybody can run their business from their phone, and you can be anywhere in the world and you need help.
I mean, I think after the pandemic, I was expecting that a lot of companies would say, okay, we've managed to keep the business going through the pandemic. The staff may have been working from home, or they may have been coming into the office once or twice a week. I should imagine a lot more people are working from home as a permanent situation now. So there must be an awful lot of office space that is up for grabs now. I've always thought this sort of virtual working would be a thing, but I think the pandemic pushed it forward by probably 5 years plus.
Absolutely. And even though in Toronto, a lot of offices are now hybrid, where a lot of people don't necessarily want to go into the office, but management has learned that you have to be able to have people work from home for when, if somebody's on vacation, which they should not be working on vacation, you can get a hold of them anywhere. You should be able to work wherever and whenever you want to. That's my motto.
Yeah. For a lot of people, it must be quite difficult to say, okay, it's 6 o'clock, right, I'm going to close my computer, it's my family time. And I think particularly when you're running a business, it's sort of saying, okay, I know I'm logistics, I'm sales, I'm marketing, I'm finance, I'm the CEO, I'm everything. How do you make that cut off, as in, yes, it is my business and I could do this, I could do that, and I could do the other. But no, I've got to shut it down and it's my personal time in my family. How do you do that? How do you switch off at the end of the day?
That one, I learned it from my son. So when I heard him say, "You're always on Zooms, you're always on meetings, you're not available." When I was starting my business right in the beginning, I thought, okay, why can't I do for other people? Why can't I do it for myself? So I would always tell people, make sure this is on your to-do list, make sure that you delegate, make sure, time management, blah, blah, blah. And then I wasn't doing it for myself. I was business. 9 o'clock in the morning, 9 p.m. And then my husband was like, I'm very proud of you, babe. But, I wish we had more time together. And then I thought, I have to be disciplined. And so when I wake up in the morning, everybody knows, okay, so mom or wife is working from 9 until whatever hours I choose. So Monday to Thursday, I will work from 9 o'clock in the morning until maybe 6 p.m. And then I have a timer that goes off at 5:30 to say, it's time to wind down your work day. So whatever I'm working on at that time, if it's going to take me a little bit more than 30 minutes, then I'll say, okay, if it's going to take me, say, 40 minutes, fine. But if it's something that is very important, it has to be a one-off thing that's going to be very important, that's going to take me past my 6 p.m. Shut-off time. And then I have the timer that goes off at 6 p.m. that says it's time to shut down. and I have to honor that timing, and I'll shut down the computer and then spend time with my family. Because if I was in a 9 to 5 job in an office, they wouldn't see me until I get home. So then I have to do the same thing to make sure that I'm spending family time, I'm enjoying game night with my family, I'm enjoying being an entrepreneur, because it's not healthy to work 24/7, 8 days a week. Well, 8, 7 days a week, but this constant cycle. So I had to put it in place for myself where, honor the time that you put in and be disciplined with your shut off time. It took me a while to get there, but I finally got there.
Marsha, I know when I'm going to be editing this podcast, I'm going to be making notes because that is so true that you said there. You have been helping other people, but it took your son to say, look, Mum, so even you have had to think, okay, hang on a minute, this is what I'm teaching and helping my businesses that I'm helping with. I've got to actually put those, rules and parameters for me as well.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Absolutely. And I find that it's easy to assist somebody else, but then putting it in place for yourself, it's almost like you feel like you're exempt when you're not. You're not exempt. You actually have to put these things in place for yourself. When they say that you can't assist somebody if you're empty. And so you have to be able to be whole so that you can help somebody else. And so that's what I had to do for myself so that I could be a boss at what I'm doing instead of just, half of me is working and the other half of me is just really tired. I had to put my own things in place too.
And I think that's very typical, isn't it? Because I'm running a podcast, you've got your business, we're full of enthusiasm. There's so many ideas, things we want to explore, things we want to do.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes we just need to have to say, okay, let's just write it all down on a huge sheet of paper and then let's go through it slowly and try and sort of pick out one thing to work on, a bit like a project.
Mm-hmm.
And it's being kind to ourselves. And this is the same. I know, and I keep saying, I know we're talking about people in business, but if you're working, if you've got a family, this all still applies. This conversation is not
Absolutely.
for people running their businesses, because sometimes running a business and running your life and your family and your home is the same as running a business. You just don't get paid.
Right? Exactly.
It's women. Women tend to be the accountant, the director, the chauffeur, the sales and marketing, absolutely all these hats.
Mm-hmm.
And I always say for women that most women could do with a wife. A wife sort of support them. Absolutely. Because it's generally the women in the household who thinking about the birthdays, planning the meals and social activities coming up. We just put in non-stop. Most of us are sort of natural organisers anyway, and I'm not by any stretch of the imagination trying to alienate men at all. We tend to wear so many hats.
True.
And the conversation we're having and these ideas about the to-do list and the procrastinating and the carrying over things equally can apply to a woman at home with her family and children, or she's working as well as having a family, or even, single people. They're probably working, they may be running their own business, social life, they've got life admin to do, and life admin seems to be getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Mm-hmm. This is something I keep hearing about, the amount of paperwork, we all have to do on a daily basis. So there are so many excellent tips here, Marsha.
Thank you. Yes. And honestly, it's things I had to learn for myself that I could better serve my clients too. Yeah.
That's it. Sometimes the biggest lessons are the lessons we learn about doing whatever we're doing. And then we can say, well, if I was doing this now, this is what I would have done or what I wouldn't have done.
Right.
Marsha, any words of wisdom to leave us with?
Oh, let me see. You know what? Yes. I just want to speak to especially women who feel like they can't do it because of age. Don't let age stop you. It's a beautiful thing to accomplish your goals. Whatever you have on your to-do list for goals in your own life, you can do it. Just don't let age stop you. Do whatever you want to do and do it well. And if you need assistance, call me. I
Oh,
can help
Marsha,
you
I
with
think
starting your
that's
business.
fantastic. Don't let age be a barrier to your goals, your dreams,
Mhm.
and your passions.
Right.
Oh, Marsha, I'm so looking forward to hearing this conversation back because I'm so going to be making notes. Because I have learned so much from you that I know I'm making mistakes with, and there's a lot of words of wisdoms there that I know I'm going to take from this conversation and I'm going to apply to my life. So Marsha, thank you. Thank you for letting some of the fog clear and those glimpses of light coming through.
Oh, thank you for having me here. Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you, Marsha.
You take care.
I hope you enjoyed the conversation. Please subscribe on whatever platform you are using. It is free, and if you would like to tell your story, please contact me on allaboutyoupodcast@yahoo.com and let's tell your story.